Hey, I am super excited to have the amazing opportunity to interview my daughter, Micah Mama 1K Walters, and talk about her journey. Over the past few months, she's gone through a lot, and you may have seen her disappear from social media, reappear on social media, show up in ways that maybe you aren't accustomed to her showing up. And we're going to talk about why. We're going to talk about the ins, the outs, the whys, the hows, and where she is now. So let me just say, Micah, Mama 1K, beautiful girl. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this interview with you.
Thank you for having me.
Literally.
It's
Literally for having you, right? So
literal.
you've gone through a lot over the past few months. And we as a family have made some realizations as it relates to you and your journey and what's been going on. Can you talk a little bit about what this journey has been like for you?
Well, first I want to say thank God for everything. And the journey has been nothing short of the word journey. It's been a journey. It's been ups, it's been downs, it's been in betweens. Just a little bit of everything. I'm just grateful that God has gave me enough strength and a good enough support system to be able to take this journey.
So I know one of the things that's happened is that you received a diagnosis of schizoaffective disorder. I know that I thought, that it was just bipolar disorder. I was like, this girl bipolar because who you get depends on the day. Like, and not even just the day, it could be from 1 minute to the next. Which mic are we going to get? And I always thought, honestly, at first I thought it was because you're a Gemini. Geminis are known for having two sides. You got to see which one shows up. But I think that the Gemini like adds to it, right? But you got a diagnosis of schizoaffective disorder. What was it like for you getting a diagnosis at all?
It was different because, in the African American community, we don't like to claim that stuff over our life, even though it may be our truth. I believe that sometimes we get so caught in religion that we believe that God didn't send doctors to help us.
That's good. That's good. You're absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. So when you say that we feel like God didn't send doctors to help us, how does that affect taking medication or seeking treatment and what you do to deal with it?
At first, when I first got diagnosed, they didn't even tell me I was diagnosed. They might have told me, and I might have just discarded it. But I didn't want to take my medication at first, especially once I got out of the mental health hospital. I didn't want to take my medicine because I just knew that that was what was making something wrong with me. But in reality, it was helping me be able to think more clearly and be able to manage and regulate my emotions better.
So even before you went to the mental hospital, we had had some conversations and we had talked about bipolar disorder. And you had gone to be seen and you had gotten some medication for bipolar disorder. How was that like, even making that first step, even before it got to the point where you were having to go to the mental health hospital?
It was hard. Like, it's anything dealing with the mind, I say it's hard because it's like you want to be able to trust yourself at all times. So when somebody says something's wrong with your brain, then you feel like you can't trust yourself because why is there something wrong with my brain? Like, is there other people that's going through this? And if other people are going through this, then why are they not on medication? And why, like, it's just a whole dynamic of questions that ran through my head. But just understanding that I can only start with me and fixing myself. So that helped me realize, like, okay, even if other people are going through this, like, I'm always the ringleader. So, like, I'm gonna lead the people that need to be led out of what they have going on.
It's so funny that you said that because we are the queens of first. Like first this, first that. Like that's what we do. We the first ones to, do whatever. And so for you to say that, is definitely indicative of our life. And when I say our life, I'm talking about me and you. Like we're first. That's what we do. So in looking at your journey and the diagnosis. First of all, let's talk about this. Let's talk about genetics. And let's talk about the role genetics plays in our mental health and our mental health journey. I remember when I was in my 20s, I think I was in my 20s, maybe hit my 30s. I had to go on antidepressants because my cycles were really bad. I would have really drastic mood swings, and I had to start taking antidepressants. Not to mention, later on, I found out that I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And one of the things associated with fibromyalgia is chronic depression. So depression was something that is in the DNA. Then I
Yeah.
found out my biological father deals with mental health issues and had actually been institutionalized multiple times because of his mind, his brain playing tricks on him, complex PTSD, all of those things. So first, let me say this. It's not that you're broken. You're not broken. You genetically had some things that were working against you genetically, right? And that I think it's important to acknowledge that. Even that, like with all of this, I ended up taking medication again. With everything that was going on, it was so much going on in my life that I was like, oh no, I can't navigate all of this by myself. Like I knew that I was at the end of my natural resources and I needed some help. And even me making that decision was connected to you and your journey. So thank you for taking your journey because it served as a mirror for me to really look at myself and see, what's going on with me. So thank you for that. Now, when you started taking medication, right? What was it like for you when you first started taking your medication?
What, in Grace Point or out?
Before Grace Point?
Um, Again, the same. Just like, I don't know if this really gonna help me. Just trying something and understanding that it might not be the first round that work, it might not be the second round, but eventually they're gonna find something.
Mm-hmm.
But they
Yeah.
really assessed me when I first. They just seen how the ADHD part, the bipolar part, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you feel clearer?
Uh, well, I first started taking medication a little bit, but not how this set of medication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And that's another thing, that we have to allow the process to be the process. Now, you talk about Grace Point. You talk about going into the hospital. How did you end up in the hospital? Like, how did you get there?
Shrooms.
Say it again.
Shrooms helped admit me
Shrooms helped admit you. Okay. How did the shrooms help admit you?
because the paranoia was on 100, and I felt like people were coming to get me. I was just like, I was talking about my past lives, and I was talking about this life, and I was talking about the future, and just everything. and it was too much. It was too much. Somebody told me, um, the stuff that I read and like the stuff that I watch, people get initiated in to learn all that stuff because of how it will mess with your mind. Like, you will not be able to look at life the same once you read certain things and you understand the truth. It's just like off the Matrix. Like, you're unplugged, but you want to be plugged back in, like, because you don't want to see all the extras.
I understand. I understand. I understand. Now, I remember the day you took the shrooms because you called me, right? You called me and you were talking 12, 50 miles per hour. And you were like, Ma, and this, 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 and this. And then I saw this, and then I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this. And I was like, whoa. Now, I'll be honest. I've seen you when you've taken shrooms before. And this was different. This was something I'd never seen before. Now, I'm just going to tell you guys that I'm the mother that they gonna tell everything. They tell me everything, and we don't have secrets. And so I know the things that they do. They let me know what they do. So I knew that this was like previous occasions when she did shrooms, although I was not for the shrooms. I was not here for the shrooms. I was not. But I knew that something was different this time. What do you think was different this time with the shrooms?
I was missing my kids.
Okay.
So I was trying to move things faster so I can get back reunited with my kids because I miss them. And so psychedelics, they make you feel more of how you already feel. So missing my kids, it made me try to fill in a void that it was just me missing them. Mm-hmm. And so just trying to figure out also too, like, what a good life looks like to me. Just to everybody else.
Right.
Because I know I used to live for other people, just like to make other people happy. So they'd be like, oh, well, you're doing this and you're doing that. And like, yeah, I'm doing all this, but I'm still not happy. Like, I wish, but yeah, shrooms, they did it. Nah, it was shrooms and me. It was mostly me. I feel like my episodes that I feel like the shrooms made an episode happen. And so once the episode happened, I was still on the shrooms. So not only am I off shrooms, like I done my emotions done went on different levels. I done went from extremely happy to actually when I wasn't sad. It was
you were very happy.
Yeah, I was very happy. It was the coming down and come back to reality, like life really was. So it's just like, okay,
you had a new house, you had a man, you was getting married, you was moving to California, you was gonna be on TV, your YouTube channel was gonna blow up, like you had created a whole life.
All that still is gonna happen. It just wasn't, and then I had to go through that so I could get to what I'm going to get to. So like now, that's what keeps me happy because ain't no way I went through all that for no reason. Like,
right.
So just keeping the same energy and realizing, okay, the universe want to make sure that you're good without everything that you said that you were gonna have before I.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just talked about that today. That, sometimes we have to go through this personal growth in order for us to get what it is that God has for us. Because, we can't handle it right now. Like where we are, like emotionally, psychologically, we're not ready for it. Okay. All right. So you ended up having a really bad episode. Like a really bad episode, very disconnected from reality. And you ended up going to Grace Point. For those
Yeah.
of you who don't know, Grace Point is a mental health facility in Tampa Bay. And talk a little bit about that process, that journey.
So I called the police on myself.
I knew you was having an episode when they told me you called the police on you. What?
Ain't nobody even called. That's how I knew that I needed it. I told Amber that I needed to go to Grace Point. I had told somebody I think I go to Grace Point because I knew that the stuff that I was doing wasn't like me. So
Right.
like that's the part of being schizoaffective that I'm grateful for, my discernment. Because I can still discern even when I'm not in my right state of mind. I can still, my discernment still works very fine.
So you call the police on yourself, and
police on myself, and then the police stopped me. I was walking somewhere. I was walking somewhere because I had to get there. In my mind, I had to get there. So I'm walking there, and they stopped me. They're like, "Hey, man, we trying to see if you okay." I'm like, "I'm fine," and I like almost start crying because I already knew what was going on. But I was just like talking to them, and then they were like, "Well, you have to come with us," and I was like, "Am I being arrested?" And they were like, "No," and I'm like, "Well, then I'm leaving." I'm not staying. But when they ended up grabbing me, and they had to wait for their supervisor to get there because I guess they had to figure out what they were going to do with me. Like, they didn't know where they was going to take me. So they ended up taking me to Grace Point. I went to Grace Point, and I thought
well,
my life.
pause before you talk about getting to Grace Point. Let's talk about your encounter with these police officers, right? because your dad walked up there, your brother was up there, and Amber was up there. Yes, they watched it all. That's how I knew what happened. Because they were telling me that you told the officer, "You know me. You love me. I love you. You love me." And he said, "Ma'am, I don't know you." You said, "Yes, you do. You know me." So you were you done told the people you was going to see your husband, but then you said you was getting married Monday. You know, you done said they said, "Do you have kids?" You said, "My kids are dead." Then you said your kids were with your mama. Then
Yeah,
you're like,
I said no. I said that, and I said no. They're alive.
listen, you
I thought they were trying to get me. I thought they were trying to get me. I was not going for it. I had to I was like trying to say the stuff that I felt like was gonna get them away from me, but it just made it worse and worse every time. But I'm grateful because it could have been jail,
and or worse. Because many times when people have encounters with police officers and they're going through an episode, it can actually result in the harm of that person. I'm grateful to Temple Terrace Police Department. I'm glad it was Temple Terrace and not Tampa Police Department. Because they were really gracious. They really worked with you. They were not easily angered, because a lot of times people get easily angered, obviously easily angered, and it can escalate situations and stuff. So I was very grateful for that. So now, fast forward. You're at Grace Point.
I get to Grace Point. I thought I was done for. I thought that I was going to be the next person that they said that they done killed another black person. That's what it felt like. I thought it was over. But I got in there, and then just being able to speak with all spirits, it was different. It was different because these are the people that people just brush off as quote unquote crazy. But it's some truth and validity to everything that they're saying. It just might not relate to the person that they're talking to. I believe that has a purpose. Even the people, even ants have a big purpose. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like to say that God made anybody without a purpose is basically saying that, like, what are you saying about God?
That's a good point. Let me ask you this. Do you think you were in Grace Point on an assignment?
Yes, I know I was on an assignment to help them and help myself because I
Yeah.
really also too they needed a lot of like because I go places and I make them better. So I went in there, I was moving the chairs around. I'm like, y'all need to clean this up. They like, hold on, man. Like by the next week, they had people coming in cleaning every 2 days. Like I made them get on their job for real.
I can see that. I can see that. Now I know I got some calls. I got some calls where you had gotten a little violent with the staff members, with resident, with the people that were in the facility, and that you were telling people God said da 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 and I know they thought you had a God complex. I know that you are a prophet, right? And so I know that some of that was God speaking, some of it was your episode. So what was it like being in there and encountering those different spirits, those different people, getting those messages?
It was a blessing. Um, it was a blessing. That's all I can say. That it was a blessing because I met so many different type of people in there, and these are people that you'll see on the streets, everyday people. You know what I'm saying? And so like we all go through things, even the best of us. It was a man in there. I don't know. He was like older. It looked like he owned a hair store or something like that. I'm like, do I know you? He like, you look so familiar too. I'm like, mm-hmm. But it's just like I feel like trying to be relatable in like this society, like it kind of makes it kind of drives you crazy because it's
Mm.
like everybody is on like everybody want to be on the same page, but we're not meant to be on the same page.
That's good. That's good. Um, you were talking about the different people that you met in there, and the people told me that you were in there longer than anybody they've ever had in that facility. Like you were there for 9 days. They normally only do 2 to 3 days, but you were there for 9 days.
They had a boy in there for 3 months. He's been in there for 3 months.
Okay.
His
Okay.
name is Leo.
Don't be telling the man name.
No, because I want you to know I asked these questions because everybody's getting released before me. So
Uh-huh.
why is everybody getting released before me? And I've been here this long. I'm okay. I think it was the whole name thing.
What name thing?
You remember I told you they had me under Elizabeth Johnson?
Okay. Did they really have you under Elizabeth Johnson?
Yes. Mom, I seen the little thing, the sheet where all the rooms and stuff was. Yes.
Wow. Did you tell them people your name was Elizabeth Johnson?
I don't remember that. I I wouldn't have said Elizabeth Johnson. I would have gave him Jessica name. I got my fake person name set up. I already know who I am. But something totally different.
Well, Johnson is our last name. So
But I thought that's why I'm like, why? Why? I don't know. It was weird.
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. So you were there for 9 days. You had some encounters.
They had to remind me who I was. I couldn't remember who I was.
Wow.
Like the lady, she told me it was a girl in there. She had got admitted. She was like, can you do my edges? Cause you do hair, you do it so good. Da, 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 da. Like I remembered I did hair, but I had thought I had stopped doing hair for a while. But I did stop doing hair. But it was it. You see what I'm saying? Speeding things up, making it
Mm-hmm.
like I was in a whole different. I was gone, but
Mm.
girl, she was like, "You did my edit." She was like, "You do hair, da da da. You do my edits." I did her edits with a toothbrush and some water.
Mm-mm. Wow.
And then the people that worked in there, matter of fact, one of my clients worked there. So she came in and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's my client. And then that's when I remember, that's when I thought about it. I'm like, oh snap, I'm not supposed to be here. I be here. Like, because other people, like people that worked there, they knew who I was. I didn't know who they were. So it's like they're in there, they keep watching me. People that don't even work on that unit coming up there on that unit to watch me. Like I'm a TV show or something.
Lord, that's the power of social media and being known.
They really said I had a God complex.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, hey.
Hey, baby.
He said, baby.
Okay. So you're in there. You're in there for 9 days. Now I know I tried to talk to you, and every time we had a conversation, you was like, "Mom, you need to come get me. You need to come get." Girl, you told me all kinds of things that happened to you in there. Like you was like, "And they did this, and they did that, and they did this, and they did that to me, and you gotta come get me. You gotta come get me." And I was like, "Baby, I can't get you out because I didn't put you in." You was like, "Yes, you did. You did this to me. This is your fault." I said, I didn't call the police. You called the police. Do you remember any of that?
Yes, I remember a lot of it. Like, I remember I just didn't have no control over it. Like,
Yeah.
that's so maybe so for real.
Yeah.
Like, I could know, like, okay, I'm not trying to do this. I'm not trying to argue. I'm not trying to do this. But that's not how it comes out. That's not how it's just like people be like, oh, I'd rather talk to you on the phone than text. You got to see my face and everything. Like, it got to be in the right day, the right time. Like, because I will snap. Like, and then too, I didn't want to be there. Then they keep shooting shots in my butt. Like, I still got a knot on my arm
Mm.
from one of their shots.
Yeah, they had to restrain you a lot. They had to restrain you a lot. They said that you were coming at the staff people, coming at people in the facility. You was going for the people.
It was this one man. He worked there. This one nurse. All I had to do was walk up to this. Micah, get away from the desk. I will give you ETO shots. I will give you ETO shot. Like he was not playing with me. Like they did not play with me. I ain't gonna lie. Like looking back at it now, like it's funny. Like, cause I really was in there fighting staff members and stuff. Like, girl, what are you doing? Like, girl, then they about threw a going away party for me. Like, I'm finally going home.
Listen, they was ready, honey. Girl, but you had told us you was going home before you were going home. And so, you like, y'all need to call my daddy and tell my daddy that he need to be here at such and such time. So, I'm calling him, telling him, he called the man, the nurse, and he's like, no, she's not going home. We said, well, she said that she was being released. He was like, no, the doctor didn't say that. Right. So, we like,
let me tell you, when I first got in there, I could have sworn that the doctor on the TV on the computer thing was Lady Gaga. I said, Lady Gaga? The lady said yes. She told me yes. She was face. I said, this is what you, because you get it, the poker face on. Yeah, like, let me tell you. This is why I got my notebook. So I can express my thoughts, what was going on in my head. Because this is why I write.
And you really thought the doctor was Lady Gaga?
Yeah, seriously.
Wow. It's good that you wrote because now you can go back and look at it and see what was going on in your head.
Okay. I said I saved the world through my thoughts. Listen, I save the world through my thoughts. I have more control in the spiritual realm. That is my power and greatness. Allow the words I need to say to be presented, and if I need to be silent, I will be silent. I surrender my life completely to you. Thank you for this journey. As we make this the most memorable story yet. I'm ready every time. Nothing can hold me down as long as I have the source. I love you, and we forgive everyone who hurt us, especially myself. I control my avatar, so no one can choose my response. God has blessed us all. I am so grateful for the breath in my body. Breathing is the most intimate form of love. Showing you have to give in order to take. Honestly, we don't even take. God just keeps on giving. And then
Wow.
the Illuminati flipped the truth. The masses serve an ego while they prosper and have them work. It was needed to get us to the promised land. Now that we are here, it's time for us to save money. We know what you have in store, and in due time, we will understand your scripture. I love myself. I love my face. I love my life. I love the energy I give off. I love how disciplined I am. I am strong. I am willful. I am determined. I wrote a lot of different stuff in here.
Wow. That's deep. That's deep. Wow. And you wrote that during that time period.
Before I went to Grace Point.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. So when you look at the revelations that you've had through this process and this journey, what do you think the greatest lesson is that you've learned through this process?
How strong I am.
Mm.
I learned that I'm very strong, and that no matter what hellhole the devil try to put me in, I'm gonna make it to the top every time.
Every time.
Every time.
Every time. Yeah. 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 So we talked a little bit about your diagnosis and the fact that you were diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder. And I want to read a little bit about what that is, and then we're going to talk. Schizoaffective disorder is a mental disorder characterized by symptoms of both schizophrenia, psychosis, and a mood disorder, either bipolar disorder or depression. The main diagnostic criterion is that the presence of psychotic symptoms for at least 2 weeks without prominent mood symptoms. Common symptoms include hallucinations, delusions, disorganized speech and thinking, as well as mood episodes. Schizoaffective disorder can often be misdiagnosed when the correct diagnosis may be psychotic depression, bipolar 1 disorder, schizophreniform disorder, or schizophrenia. This is a problem as treatment and prognosis differ greatly for most of these diagnoses. Many people with schizoaffective disorders also have other mental disorders, including anxiety disorders. And so some of the symptoms are hallucinations, delusions, disorganized thought and behavior, inappropriate affect, which means emotional expression, depression, mania. Some of the complications are lack of motivation, cognitive issues, risk of harm to self or others, and anxiety disorders. And the usual onset is between the ages of 16 to 30 years of age. Causes unknown, risk factors, genetics, brain chemistry and structure, stress, and drug use. Wow. So, hearing all of that, do you feel like it was an accurate diagnosis for you?
I wouldn't diagnose me with anything. Kids, and that he just loved me in a different way. Because I battle with the truth to the eye and the truth to the eye.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Explain that. Elaborate.
Um, that's just like if God is telling your spirit to do something and nobody else is understanding it but you. That's what I go through on a daily basis. So just not being understood is my main like I have gotten comfortable with people not understanding me what the stuff that I do, and I have gotten to the point where I don't need people to understand what I do and why I do it. I do it because God told me to do it. And also too, not even about told me to do it, because I believe in choice. I know that I trust myself and I have the intuition, and I know that God is with me at all times. So
Mm-hmm.
they could tell me no, it's him. And so that's how I look at everything.
Oh my
He don't
goodness.
want to tell me something's wrong with me. But I can say that something's wrong with me too. And something's wrong with me.
You know who you sound like?
My granny Eunice.
No, you sound like me.
Oh.
You sound like me. Only God can tell me what to do. Yeah, you sound like me. You sound like your mama.
If they
Okay.
would, I don't have a God complex. An I have authority issues. I have
Mm.
authority because who gave you authority over me? That's a real question.
That's a real question. That's a real question now. That's a real question. Whew.
They gave you authority over me. I need to talk to them because how can I need to speak to the man?
You need to speak with the man in charge.
I need to speak to
Who
you.
is the person that's in charge?
Who gave
Because
you authority?
mm,
Who gave you this
mm,
authorization?
mm. Oh my goodness, that's good. That's good. So, what would you tell someone who was dealing with depression, bipolar disorder, or maybe schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder? What would you say to them?
I would tell them that life gets better,
Mm,
and everything that you're going through happens for a reason, and you're not going through anything, you're growing through it. So you're
come
growing
on.
blessing.
I love that. I
Mhm.
love that. So, how can people follow your journey?
You can follow me on Instagram at MYNIVERSE 777. Or you could follow my journey on YouTube, which this will be on as well. Um, it is 1K Studios. And yeah.
Anything else you want to say to people before we close out?
I just want to say thank everybody for supporting my journey so much. And I'm just so excited about the future interviews and the the meet and greets and the collaborations and just everything. I love connecting with people. So that's really it. If you need advice, or if you want, I've been thinking about starting like an advice column, like where people can email me. And so that's something I'm looking forward to doing because I know if me personally, I don't have friends like that. Is being um schizoaffective, it makes it a little bit harder to make friends, like because I like being around people that I already know, and so if I'm not around them now, then clearly I'm not around them for a reason. But still, it's like I don't like new things, like brand new. Like I like new things from the store, like buying new things, but I don't like new people and like new places and stuff like that. I'm kind of like a OCD about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I love it. Well, I want to tell you I love you.
I love you more.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of the young woman that you are, the young woman that you're becoming. I'm proud of the mother that you are, the mother you're becoming. I'm proud of the stylist, the professional, the influencer that you are, and the one that you're becoming. And, for me, it's so much more about who you are and less about what you do. So the doing doesn't make me proud. I mean, yeah, I'm proud of stuff that you do, but I'm proud of just being you, period, without doing anything, just who you are. And I appreciate your authenticity. I appreciate your courage. I appreciate your strength. And I appreciate your vulnerability. Thank you for being vulnerable today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for everything. Like, I just appreciate you being my support system too, Mom, because you one of my two friends.
And I spent a lot of time telling you, I'm not one of your little friends.
And the whole time, that became one of my little friends.
I became a little friend, one of the little friends. Well, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you. All right. Listen, we thank you guys so much for tuning in. And please follow the journey. Follow the journey. You want to see where she's going because I promise you, like, yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah.